Hello and welcome back to our Planet Coaster Harder Challenge Mode series. This one's a pretty interesting one. I wasn't planning on doing what we actually do in this episode, but here we are. You can see me starting to move some of the rides here. We've already got the whirly rig out of there. We also have the Wild Blue that we've moved, and you can see that I am doing some path work. This is actually attempt number 1. This does not end up as the final version here. We actually don't do that much path work in what we completed here, but you can see I'm just struggling trying to figure out how I'm going to get an entrance to this new area. There's not going to be much terrain variation in this area. It's going to be relatively flat. It's going to be over by that parking area there. So, but anyway, we this first attempt, you can kind of see that long pathway that we have going in there is actually. I was trying to think of doing some type of like airport type theming. And yeah, I never could find a way to get like a runway or something like that in. So we end up scrapping this, but we do quite a bit. We even go ahead and start to build our roller coaster. Now, the episode is named Let's Get Hyper. And I do refer to this roller coaster as a hyper coaster, but it is actually not over 200 feet. So, and the coaster that we're building is not the coaster that we used. Even though I did kind of like the way this was going out, I didn't like the profiling on this first drop. So this does not stick around. But anyway, if you are new to the series here, I do play the harder challenge mode here in Planet Coaster. I have set up a couple rules which I'll bring up here shortly, so you can just kind of see what we do. The rules aren't really going to impact this episode all that much, so we're not going to go over them in detail, but you can see I'm doing this B&M style hypercoaster, yeah, I mean, from some angles, that drop looks pretty awesome. Like the parking lot, it looked great. But I just couldn't quite get it. If you're inside the park, it kind of looks weird, especially once you would remove some of those obnoxious supports that are there, which we would have definitely done if we were to keep this. But I also wanted it to be realistic in terms of the forces that you were going to experience as you're riding it. I did also do a version of the 4 meter method, which it's not anything close to the 4 meter method here. Basically, the 4 meter method is where you build the entire coaster out of 4 meter sections, which is the smallest piece of track that you can use. And then you select 4 of those sections, and you go and you smooth all once, move it one section, smooth all, and go back and forth across, and it gives you a nice smooth turn. I did not use 4 meter sections. I used larger sections that vary for a coaster of this size. So yeah, I honestly, it doesn't look horrible, but you know, I just wasn't feeling it. I do like the colors, but they don't fully hang around here. And the style of train, we definitely do not, or the style of coaster definitely becomes something different. But I did want something that was going to be a little bit bigger, right by the parking lot, that will get people interested in coming to the park, seeing it operate, and being like, that's the ride I want to go on. But yeah, as I kept building, I was like, you know, this doesn't really fit with the rest of the park. Like, this is going to be a little out there because everything else is kind of dated. a little bit at the moment. So it's going to be this big brand new B&M style coaster, which would be cool and all, but it doesn't fit, doesn't make sense. A park of this size wouldn't be able to purchase something of this scale. So we are, I think, coming to the point where I soon scrap the idea, and you can see that it just looks kind of weird in certain areas. So I am glad that I did not end up with this, and that I've chosen something else, and it looks way better. So now you can see I didn't even use the build that I was in, just delete everything. I just reverted back to the save, and then yeah, so this that's pretty much all the pathing that we do for the area. We're not going to make a runway or anything like that. So we go ahead and we get the equalizer, which is the Morgan hypercoaster. I had recently ridden Steel Eel at SeaWorld San Antonio, which was a good ride. I mean, it's not the best ride in the world, but you know, it's fun. So I was feeling the want to try and build one of these, and obviously it gets a little close to the path there. The red kind of reminds me of Magnum XL 200, or maybe like a Steel Force at Dorney, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to have my own twist on this. Unfortunately, because I used the city biome, the park is not that wide. So the only option to get something like this in was to make a right-hand turn, or to do a full U-turn at some point, and I didn't want to do that. So we go ahead and we get our turn, which honestly isn't all that bad. There are certainly some areas that look kind of weird, but these coasters tend to have weird turns like that, so I'm not that concerned about it. And you know, we just kind of go for an airtime hill to start out. And when I initially started building this, I was like, these supports, we're gonna have to redo these supports, and I was fully into it. But you know, as I kept building, I could see that these supports actually look pretty decent. So I knew I was going to redo some of the supports, and I do, but I was pretty content with what was actually being provided by the game here. So yeah, so once we got over that first airtime hill, I wanted to come down to a slight right turn to kind of come back towards the center of the park. And then it go over another airtime hill, and then come through a long swooping turn, which would lead into a low airtime hill, which I actually was looking at doing like a double type of thing, almost like Son of Beast, but I chose not to do that. We go for a low airtime hill there, and then another swooping turn to kind of get us back in the right direction, so we can head back towards the station here. And I wasn't initially going to I was going to add another airtime hill here, but I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and throw in a brake run. So you can see I'm constantly checking for forces as we go around to make sure nothing's exceeding what would be realistic. And that turn on the right, it wasn't unrealistic. So I decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and let's get a few brakes in here. And then it was still going pretty fast after that turn, so I figured we'll throw in the mid-course brake run there as well. So after that, I knew I was going to want at least another airtime hill, and then a small twister section, which actually turned out a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I really thought that we were going to have some issues trying to find a way to get it back to the station. The station's elevated really high, which I'm not sure why I've done that, but I did. So, and you can see I initially wanted to try and have some more interaction with the front of the park here, but this just was not going to work. I made that first turn way too large, so as much as I would have wanted to, it didn't have the space for one. Wouldn't have made it back to the station with it. Well, we might have been able to get it back to the station, but it would have been crawling at some point. So, and it still kind of crawls with the direction that we were going with initially here, but yeah, so I think we might even try one more time before we give up on this completely, but it just was not working. No, I don't try again. I just go back up. We do a nice little turn here, get the rest of our twister section, and get some airtime. Now this part, I want to say it was inspired by Steel Eel, but I don't think Steel Eel had this much of a section like this. So, yeah, so we obviously added a little bit more here. And then I didn't realize, but I had the collision turned off. So that part that just went over the first drop was way too low, as well as underneath that one airtime hill. There were some collision issues there, so we had to address those, which we do here shortly. And then I always build my brake runs out from the back so I can kind of have an idea of what I'm going to need and how I'm going to connect it, because it's impossible to get it to line up straight if you do it any other way. So we go ahead and get that, and then it's pretty much just minor changes in terms of the layout from here. We smooth a whole bunch of it out. You can see, I think I'm looking at excitement here. So yeah, this is pretty much the final layout here, with the exception of the smoothing that we do. And you can see the tedious tasks that I am doing here to try and smooth out as much of this coaster as I can. And honestly, it didn't take all that much. It was relatively smooth from the beginning. And you can see I do ride it multiple times, and I focus on different sections of the track. I did not want to mess with the airtime hills, because I didn't. When you try and smooth an airtime hill, it just kind of makes it long and drawn out and no excitement. So I wanted it to have like a little bit of like a point at the top, and I think I successfully did that. The only parts, there's two parts on it that aren't really that smooth. It's the bottom of that first airtime hill, or the second drop in this case, where it's kind of banking to the right. It has a little jankiness, and then the part right before that we looked at previously there, where we're coming off the second airtime hill and going into that long swooping high-speed turn. If I went too high with the smoothing, it would disconnect that one support, and I didn't want to do that. So we just kind of left that in there. These coasters would be a little janky at some of those areas, so honestly, one or two of them, not that bad. Especially when you have the brakes, the trim brakes on the next hill here. So yeah, and to be very clear, we do have an actual POV of this right at the end of the time lapse before the live portion. So that is some good stuff to watch, so you can see how smooth it actually is, if you think it's smooth or if you don't. So yeah, and a lot of smoothing went into this. So I tend to build my coasters on the angle snap, the entire thing all the way through, unless there is a need to not have it on. So like if I'm trying to make a turn that's less than the angle or something like that, I would turn it off, and then I would turn it back on once I get it to the direction I want. But once as I'm building everything, it's literally just, I think it's 11.25 I can have it at, or maybe 15 degrees. I don't remember. That's the only thing that I use all the way through. And I tend to use the smaller pieces, unless it's a larger coaster. So like as the coaster got more towards the end, the pieces got smaller, to make sure it was smoother. But the larger pieces, because they're not going to be changing as much, I didn't think it was as necessary. So and also I apologize because I did speed up through some of these POVs where I was looking to see if the forces were good. Yeah, we're flying through that, so I'm sorry if anyone gets sick for that. But we are, I think, soon running through the end of the coaster building, and then we are going to take a shot at the station here, and the station is definitely going to be something that I struggle with. But really, I really like the coaster. I do want to mention that I am trying to come up with a name. I am still going to stay with a loose airfield airport theming. So I was looking through, doing some research on different terms for airports and whatnot. And there were two that I kind of liked. One that I'm leaning towards, which is Empyrean. And I don't think that's exactly how you're supposed to say it, but that's how I would say it for the ride name. Again, that's Empyrean, so it's Empyrean. And then the other one is Apsis. And the reason I like that is because Apsis is, I believe, the point closest or farthest away from, I can't remember if it's the sun or the earth or whatnot during the flight. So and I could be completely wrong, so correct me if I am, but Apsis kind of sounds a little more demonic, or a little more evil, which I'm not opposed to having a ride like that, but this is not that ride. I mean, this is supposed to be more of like a graceful ride, and I think Empyrean kind of does that a little bit better. So I do have a poll currently going up on YouTube in my community where you can either select one of those two, or if you have a suggestion for your that would be better, you can make that suggestion as well in the comments, and then I will edit the options to get that in there if I think it is acceptable. So please let me know what you guys think in terms of a name for this thing. We do change the colors, by the way, which you'll see those later, but at this point we are moving and changing out some of those supports. For whatever reason, on these coasters you see large single supports, and they are all right next to each other. So I figured, you know what, we can probably swing these through on some of the areas where you would see a higher force. So like the turns as it's going around up top. And then I also wanted to get some dirt in here, which I don't really know why I took the time to do this, because we'll have to do this at some point. But yeah, I think it kind of defines the ride area a little bit more, rather than just having grass all the way through. So yeah, I think we are done with the coaster. Yeah, you just saw me do a quick check to see what it looks like here, and now it's time to get the cues and everything. And now the one thing I did not like that I did, it's 1H off from being like perfect down from the stairs. So that's extremely annoying. But you know, I can manage that. I'll just hide that in there. And then the other piece that I need to do yet is the transfer track and how we're going to find a way to make that work. And you can see that's what I was doing there. I was trying to figure out where is this going to work, because there's not enough space on the back. But you know, maybe we need to find another way to do it. So the exit, I knew I needed this to be a ramp to make it ADA accessible. So we got a weird thing here. I also wanted to make sure that we had the exit in the center of the coaster. So we go ahead and do that, and I explained that a little bit more in the live portion, so I won't do that here. Now the transfer track, excuse me as I get a sip of my beverage. The transfer track, the only solution that I could find that was reasonable was having the transfer underneath the station. So we go ahead and we do that because, like I said, I just could not think of another place to have a building that would make sense. So theoretically, I mean, you would have it on the back where you just kind of like how Steel Eagle was, where you would just have 3 things of track where they would just interchange, and then you could just move one train off. And then the other option was to have a switch track to just get the train off onto another piece of track, and then that would take you somewhere else. So I figured that was the best option, and because the coaster is raised up so high, we can actually have the storage bay underneath, and I think it's fine. I think it's believable enough that yeah, we can just do with that. And we try a few different things in terms of the actual station material. I really like these cast brick, or whatever it's called. I don't know. I like them, but I can't seem to get them to work right. Whatever I'm doing is just not pulling, not doing it for me. So, excuse me. Maybe I need another sip of my beverage. So, I mean, maybe the idea that I was going for was kind of like an airport type terminal thing, but it's too small to really go for that. So I ended up kind of simplifying it a little bit, and even this whole piece right here, this doesn't stay. We completely change it. We kind of tone the colors down a little bit so they don't pop out as much. And you can see I changed the colors, and I think these are the actual colors that stick around. So yeah, and I'm just struggling trying to find something for the station. And then I was like, you know what, maybe it's just concrete. Maybe we just need to go with concrete and kind of live with it. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna build, and I'm just gonna keep going and keep going until we're finished. So we get in some smooth concrete, we get in some brickwork to add a little bit of definition. We also add in some concrete pillars to the top of the bricks to also add some different angles as well. And yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's not my favorite building, that's for sure. I do add this weird thing here. I don't know why I do this, but you know, it kind of breaks up the smooth concrete, which I like. So we also add in some of the neon lit signs, so we can get a little bit of uniqueness to the building, maybe a little bit of modern in there. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that, but uh, we do get them around the entire building. And we actually add them later on yet too. So yeah, and you can just see I'm just trying to kind of fill in spaces. This tends to be what I do when I can't figure out what's going on. It's just try and build, try and keep going, try and figure out something that's gonna work right, so or look decent. So and you know, you don't really think about it, but a lot of the buildings for coasters and things like that really aren't all that spectacular. So, and most of the building, it looks better and more realistic once you add in foliage, whatever, however you want to say that word, but like your trees and your shrubs and everything like that. So it's easy to get discouraged when you are adding or building something like this where it's like, man, it doesn't look right. Well, of course it doesn't look like right because it's not done. And I think that's kind of going to be what I have in this build, where it's going to look kind of odd. Even the parts like where I let off and go with the live portion, uh, it's not all that great. So I do think it is gonna pull together and look much better once we're done. It's, to me, not yet as good as the Steel Eagle. The Steel Eagle's station building, but we do. I think it'll be up there because whenever I tend to have this problem, whatever I build actually looks pretty good by the time I'm done. So. The next part that I was struggling with was getting a fence for the station, and I knew, because I had that path on the outside, I wanted the path to either A, have a lower roof, or be not covered at all. And we ended up going with not covered at all, and then the other problem was trying to figure out how was I going to get the rest of the station covered. So we do something that I rarely do and actually use the walls that were intended to make the wider opening. And it actually, I think it looks pretty good once we get the trim in there. I have to add some columns to create some support, as well as break up the concrete. Of course, we go with the brick columns. I was at one point going to put some additional detail on there, but I've said, you know what, I don't think it's worth it. This pillar was on my mind a lot because it's very close to that. So I do explain I show that in the live portion, so it kind of makes a little more sense to why we're keeping it there. And so again, I won't go over that now, but yeah, there were, oh man, I think it was one of these pillars. I could not select the pillars that I wanted, and I just constantly just kept selecting them and then unselecting them by mistake, and I think I did it for like 2 minutes or something. Oh yeah, we used the brick trim here, which is really rare. For me, I don't tend to use this brick trim all that much, so that's kind of nice, just to have a little bit of a base, get a little bit, something a little bit more unique. Obviously, we have our fences there that are just coming up over the top, and yeah, just tidy some things up, work on our pillars still. Obviously, I was looking at potentially having pillars at all the openings there. I end up deciding against that because it would have been too many. And honestly, you just need some trim around the opening where the coaster enters and exits. So yeah, we get our trim in here. Honestly, I thought that trim made it look a lot nicer than what I thought it was going to. And then came for the time where I needed to find a way to make this roof look somewhat interesting from above. So obviously when you're playing Planet Coaster, everything you do, you're looking down. So how can you make something look decent? Well, it's with a little bit of level variation. I was going to do a somewhat pitched roof, and I just decided against it. I thought it would just be a little bit too much work for something that I'm probably not going to look at all that much. I mean, obviously I'll see it, but I think a flat roof in this scenario, I'm really thinking of the Magnum XL200's station building, where I believe that is a flat roof, or at least that's how I remember it. So we just focus on that. We just have two different levels, and then obviously the third level, where the path just doesn't have any roof or whatnot. So yeah, so I do have some different colors up there. Those go away. We get rid of those because it just wasn't working right with the brick, so we ended up changing out the colored pieces up there to brick, and you know, I think it looks fine. Nothing too crazy, but you know, it keeps it a little more consistent with the rest of the building, so I'm okay with that. And then those are the pieces where we actually use those neon light trims again. And you know, I really would have liked to use the actual roof pieces, so I didn't have to do the what are these, art shapes, but they weren't working right. So art shapes it is. We get in a couple of them. Oh, here's the part where I could not select the pillars properly. Yep, just kept doing it. Just yep, there we go. Nope, there we go. We finally got it. And then went ahead and making sure our pillars up top extended properly, and then now trying to figure out. You know, honestly, I don't know if I even need these. Oh no, I go to try, and this was a part that I was really struggling with as well. Fences for the pathway here. For this type of thing, I feel like you need to have something that you couldn't see through, that obstructed some view, except for when you're like right up against it, you can see over it then. So I try a few different things. None of them tend to work, and I can't ever find something that's going to obstruct their view. So we have this fence here that kind of looks alright, but I eventually cave and use some Theme Maker Toolkit beams to go with the fencing there. But okay, yeah, we're jumping around. I didn't realize I jumped around this much while I was building, but all over the place. Obviously, trying to just get everything to be a little more consistent. Trying to make something that's also going to pop at night. But yeah, so I was really not looking forward to building the downward slope fence. So that was also kind of some of my inspiration to go with the Theme Maker Toolkit items for the fence. But you know, honestly, This was probably one of the easier parts of the build. We get a whole bunch of things duplicated. These beams are pretty awesome. I did struggle with the colors for a little bit. Obviously, you can see they're blue there. I think I end up going white, or maybe I leave it blue. I can't quite remember. They do stay blue for a while because we switch everything up here. What color do I keep? White, maybe? I definitely don't do black, I know that. Oh, I go with the concrete color. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. I don't. As I'm saying that, that might not have been a great idea. But you know, maybe they would paint it that. I don't know. We get the fences in here. I do see that they look a little low, so we extend those up a little, and you know, from there it's just a lot of duplication. And the one nice thing is we're actually getting towards the end of the speed build, so that is pretty exciting because this was a long one, and I did not want it to go this long. So thank you if you stuck around here with me as I rambled on and on about this. In terms of the channel, I do intend to continue to do this. I do want to try and do a city skyline series, which would be a little less time consuming than what Planet Coaster is in terms of being able to get a video out. So hopefully we can get that going, and then I also want to hear from you guys about what you like in terms of coasters in real life. I'm hoping to get out to a few parks this year. I'm from Pennsylvania initially, so I'm actually going to be heading up there in the beginning of May. So there's going to be some questions that I put out there through YouTube for you know, just trying to get some opinions and hear what you guys like and what you guys like to do. Maybe catch something that I haven't done before. So I hope to hear you guys do that. But anyway, like I said, we are getting close to the end of the build. We are gonna tidy up the little entrance garage door, if you will, for the coaster here, and I will see you in the live portion. Welcome to the live portion of today's video, and boy was this a little unexpected. We have started adding a new roller coaster, and it is quite a large ride for this park. And I think it's turned out pretty good. We're obviously nowhere close to being done with it. The station is like half done, maybe a little more than half, because I did get the exit sorted out. Whoa! I did not do anything on the queue yet, and then we obviously have to worry about our tram here in the parking lot, so that'll be interesting. We also have this, man, I am all over the place, this gap, which will tidy up in a future episode. I did verify that the train squeezes by here. It's a little unrealistic because obviously anyone on the train would be able to just kind of put their hand out and touch the building, but in real life, if this were to happen, it's very possible that if this wasn't like a full load-bearing beam or something like that, it would just kind of cut in and just have like a little hole here. So you can see there's no contact there, so we're just going to kind of go with it. Yeah, we'll figure that out later if we want to. But pretty generic station, nothing too crazy. We do have some outlines just to kind of break it up. We mix in the brick and the concrete, but I mean, the real focus of this video here is the coaster. And currently I have a poll up on YouTube to try and come up with a name. This area is going to be like an airfield type area. It's not going to be anything crazy, no like significant theming, just kind of loose theming all the way around it. So it'll be good for Wild Blue to get a home. Whirly Rig is going to find a home some other time, but that's currently not operating. We also may be able to add some other rides that have an airplane theme or something like that, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, I was really happy with the way this has turned out. I think it's fairly realistic for this style of coaster. I didn't want it to be a monster and just be so tall that it's ridiculous. I do actually think in the poll I called it a hyper, but I don't think it is actually over 200 feet. No, the biggest drop is 186 feet, so yeah. But I think it's a good height for the park, and I think it gives good excitement. I mean, even if you look at the heat maps, a lot of the it gets dropped because of the brake run and all that stuff, and then obviously this little pre-area isn't all that exciting, but let's whoa, man, it's like I don't even know how. I haven't played this in a bit, so let's get back here. Excitement. But I mean, everything seems to be pretty smooth. It's like I said, fairly realistic. We get a lot of excitement coming down the drops and going over the hills, which is nice. I actually somewhat like these supports. They're not exactly the same as you would see on like a coaster like this, but there's a lot of them. They connect to each other. I kind of like it, so we're going to keep it. And then for some of the other areas, I added in these huge, thick supports that you would see on a coaster like this, just to kind of break it up. It goes in some of the higher, more stressful areas. So, and then anywhere where we had the connecting beams, I didn't want to mess with those. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. Our station, let's deselect this. Our station, we have the queue partially set up. We do not have the priority pass queue set. People will come down here. They have a long way on the no priority pass, and then I'm not exactly sure where or how I'm going to mix in the priority pass. Maybe we'll do, I don't know. I, these trains hold a lot. I like the priority pass to come in one full train after, or two full trains, as we see in Wild or Steel Eagle. So we'll figure it out. That's why I didn't mess with any of this. I wasn't 100% certain what I wanted to do, so uh, we have that. But anyway, once people get up in here, it's a pretty basic station. Nothing done on the inside yet. I'll probably do something pretty generic. We'll get the row lines or row numbers somewhere up here. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Whoa. Uh, but then the one thing that is a little different is on the exit, I wanted to make sure that I could have the exit to the ride. And actually, I see that this is. Let's make sure that to be consistent. We are probably going to keep this too because I'm too lazy to put in an actual. Well, no, I'll probably fix it. Who knows? Um, it'll probably annoy me enough, and then I'll fix it, and then we'll have something different all the way through here. But um, I wanted to make sure that the exit was in the middle because that was one of the things that I did not like on Steel Eagle, and I'll show that in a little bit. But when people get out, if you put the exit too far to the front or too far to the back, the people on the opposite end of the train walk super slow all the way down the station and then leave, and they won't let people get on until this gate closes, which is kind of ridiculous because in all parks, as soon as this train comes in and those people get out, these people are getting on. So um, that's pretty annoying on that front. But uh, anyway, so if you put it in the middle, the people on the ends will meet at the same time and get out, so it'll cut down some time between. Um, but then my way to kind of combat that is by just putting a path all the way across here. So your exit's still here, but you have the path here, so uh, people can kind of sit over here if they want it, or they're waiting for someone. Uh, Almost like a ride swap area, like a family area or something like that, where someone else was riding, the rest of the family would wait over here. When they get off, they just kind of switch and go back in. So, yeah, I kind of like that idea. Um, we do need to finish up and put a little more details in here, but I thought this video was getting pretty long already, so um, but anyway, then you come over here, you go down the ramp, so that would be ADA wheelchair accessible, and then we'll have some type of sign for the name of our ride, like I said, that we get from the poll that is up on YouTube. So, um, yeah, and in the layout itself, just kind of have some airtime hills, some sprawling turns. We do have a not brake run, trim brakes here because I wasn't fully satisfied with the speed and the forces that we were getting around this turn, so that slows it down, brings it to a more realistic uh, forces up into a mid-course brake run, and then we got a little twister section I think kind of fits in pretty nice. So yeah, I'm happy with the way it started to turn out. We obviously have a lot more work to do. I have to finish up this area of the tram, as I mentioned before, kind of get the fence in around. So this is the beginning of a few videos to get this done. But anyway, let's jump in to our management features and see what we have going on. Our overview, we are looking pretty good. Parking tram. This park is great. Scissors, good. Parking tram. Everyone loves the parking tram. That's disappointing. It's a parking tram, but guessing the game can't quite determine that. It is free too, so I can understand that. Um, Steel Eagle, the most profitable ride coaster, which is awesome. And Bear Paw Eats Pip Shot Juice is really bringing in some money. So that's pretty awesome. Our average month profit is we're losing money. That's interesting. But that's probably because of all the construction that I've been doing. So Although monthly construction costs only $150. Our wages pretty significant. We're really going to need to get some of our rides open. Like I said, we closed 2, so we're not getting any profit from either of these anymore. And obviously our coaster isn't open yet. That's not going to be open for a while. So yeah, we could have some issues ahead. And if you remember when we were building Steel Eagle, we had some issues at one point there where we had to open the ride because we ran out of money. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. All right, so let's take a look at the finances. Rides and tickets, those are pretty good. We are making a significant chunk of money on that front, which is awesome. Nothing too crazy to point out. Priority pass sales, we are selling some things. That's good. Shops and facilities, we're losing money pretty regularly. And I think that's probably because we've added a bunch of bathrooms, which is a little annoying, but honestly, there's worse things that can happen. Our park management, we're gonna lose a bunch of money there, and that's to be expected. Our staff wages are just expensive. Our scenery running costs from the stupid cameras, ridiculous, and yeah, we're consistently losing money there, so that's no good. Construction costs, nothing crazy there. Other cash, nothing crazy there. So we really just need to start getting attractions open. So I wonder. Well, we'll come back to that. Our research, we don't have any research. We don't have any marketing staff. So staff, let's run down through here now. If you are interested in being a part of the park, please feel free. Let me. Yeah. Words are a struggle at the moment. Let me know in the comments section who you want to be, and we will get you in to the park. We'll get you hired, get you set up, and we will certainly be able to have a good time. And I have a bunch of people in here already, so we'll go through those. I do typically read the names at least once. So yeah. Now, let's see. I thought that I had someone else. Maybe I put them in here already. They wanted to be a Gulpy. Have to find them. Because it's been so long since I've had a video, since I've been in the game. The comment came in right after I posted my last video. So it's been so long since I've done it. But I think that they're in here. Let me just double check. They are not in here. Alright, so we need... I think I remember who it is, though. We need to get a Gulpy going. And... let me make sure I get their name correct here. We got Alfian. We got Alfian in here. So, we have Alfian now wandering our park, looking to entertain our guests, and we're gonna pay you $150 so you don't leave. So please don't quit. But anyway, the rest of our entertainers doing great. We got Daniel Pospichal, K Dancer, and now Alfian. So all three of those. I think Daniel is a where's he at? Yeah. Captain Lockjaw, K Dancer is a Cosmic Cow, and Alfian is a Gulpy Rex. What's going on here? I find... okay. What? Apparently I have no janitors. Except I do have janitors. So let's just go ahead and... There we go. Alright, so now we got everyone going in here. Yeah, so janitor's looking pretty happy. We don't need to pay them anymore. Our vendors are more of what our problem is. Obviously, we've opened up a ton of information kiosks to add some realism, and that's costing us a ton of money. So that's to be expected. We do have everyone broken down here. Good old Rusty Gooch. Everyone seems pretty happy. There we go. And Goku over 9,000. It's fully trained up. Reina Wagoner. So yeah, so those people are looking pretty good. Our mechanics, Burl having a grand old time. Edmund Delaney, he's got a low workload, so that's good. Our security, I know security is still becoming an issue, so we are going to train up Quinn so that we can get him a little bit more, he'll be a little bit better at catching our vandals and pickpockets. So work rosters, honestly, there wasn't really much done, so I don't think we need to go through any of that. Our staff buildings are fine. Resting, staff resting. Yeah, I think we do want to keep that because I think it's gonna be a busy staff building. We'll get another one in there and then reduce that back, but yeah, I think we are looking good on that front. Our guests, happiness 100%. That's awesome. We had that happen before. Energy 74%, hunger and all that good stuff. Toilet 71%. We have so many toilets. Just go to the bathroom. Nausea is fantastic as well. We do have a first aid, but I don't think people use it all that much. Our comments, priority passes are for suckers. That is correct. I don't have enough money to go on Steel Eagle. Well, there's an ATM right over here. Why do we have priority passes are for suckers twice? Interesting. Alright. Parking tram is a really good value. Yeah. Everyone else. Daniel Pospichal is the best. So Daniel is living it up, entertaining everyone, so that's good news. It really wants me to know about priority passes and to tell me that they are for suckers. So that is very true, though. But anyway, in terms of our rides, Crankshaft lost money, so that's not good. The parking tram, we know the parking tram is going to be a problem. Equalizer, we haven't opened yet, so that's not costing us anything. Let's just take a look here. Last month. I think we need a refurb. So we're just going to do that. That way we can get them. Ooh. Ooh. Oh man, I don't know what I just did there, but anyway, I think the refurb will kind of bring it back so that we can start making some more money with Crankshaft. That is a ride that we have to do that a lot. Our shops, yeah, we know the guest services aren't going to make money. Corky's is making money, that's good. Tickets, not open, not making money. Ooh, unstaffed. That's usually like our best one. What are you talking about? No available vendor? Maybe we do need to hire someone else. I don't know. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Vending machine making a little bit of money. Vending machine losing a little bit of money. Bearpaw eats, making good. Keepsakes. making some more money than I would expect. Tickets. Alright, just a memento, losing the amount of money that I would expect. Bearpaw Eats Pizza been doing really well. So yeah, that's alarming. Let me just see here. Where's our vendors? Okay, the American Arrow. Did I mess something up? 2 shops. Okay. So what about this one? Okay, so I've put it in here, which also has that guest services is going to be up there, and the staff building, and then King Coaster's keepsakes. So let me see. How many do I have on main entrance? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. But how many shops do I have? I have 5 shops on main entrance. 2 shops there. So that one's good. I think I just need to bite the bullet and hire someone here. So let me get. Actually, I probably need to hire 2, because if I'm short one, oh man, that's not good. But anyway, that'll cost us a lot more money. Man, I really botched that one. Alright, where's our main entrance, folks? Rusty. Alright, we need to get your wardrobe here, Rusty. Okay. Now, where's our new peeps? There we go. I'll switch you to main entrance. Adolfo Mello. Okay, and then Lydia Card. I don't really agree with the way I have this set up. We might have to readjust those here soon, because it doesn't make much sense. But anyway, that should at least sort that out so we can at least make some money, because that's crazy that we haven't had anyone there. That is our most profitable shop, so we need that one to be operating. But anyway, we'll come back to that in a future episode. Facilities, yes, we know that's not good. Crane Game making some money, which is nice. We don't have hotels, restaurants, anything like that. Security management, pickpocket victims in park. I mean, acts of theft spotted all time. Wow. That's all good, and our special effects are looking great. So yeah, so I think we are looking good, and then I know I mentioned that I would bring you over to Steel Eagle, so you can see everyone has to come down to the end here, and then the gates open. It actually causes the coasters to stack, which is annoying to me. But anyway, so that's going to do it for this episode. In our next episode, I think we'll obviously keep working on this here. Hopefully we'll have a name and we can work on a logo. on tidy up some of this area as well. So I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. If you saw something I could have done better, please let me know in the comment section. And if you want to see some more awesome Planet Coaster content, please subscribe to the channel. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later.